Holy shit, guys. We have made it to another episode of the Young Blood Podcast. That's crazy, crazy, crazy. Again, it is all one word, YOUNGBLOODPODCAST. Young Blood Podcast, you guys. Today, we've got Mr. Andy Clements on the show, also known as DJ Brochacho. He's a very good friend of mine and even better guest on the show. Please enjoy.
Me and him lost an hour and like half of footage.
Yeah, no, it's not like you can just sit down and say, let's reshoot, because you're never going to get the same footage, you know? It's like in this format, we could do the same conversation tomorrow. It's going to be completely different.
Exactly. And I'm trying to actually change up the way that I do my intros, because I normally introduce the person and go, oh, blah, 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 and just one cut the whole way. But I want to start kind of doing a pre-recorded before I do the show intro of that person. Now it's a little more exciting, a little more like, this is that person, this is what they're about, and Joe the show. And then go into my pre-song, intro song or whatever, and then kind of cut into the show like a couple minutes in where we start actually getting into it.
Yeah. No, for sure.
That's what I hate. Like, I hate doing it this way, but I fucking love it in the same sense that I do copy Joe Rogan's platform because he does it fucking right. Like, the way he does it, there's no reason for me in my head to do it differently.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I like that straight through format, you know? So, I do a lot of promo, and my big rule is, so watching like marketing videos and advertising videos, I used to hate seeing everyone like cut every 10 seconds. And it made me think like, yo, you can't put two sentences together without having a problem. You know, what are you doing?
Right.
Like, you can't do 10 seconds is the most you can do without having to cut. So I made sure every video I ever did, even if there's a little bit of mistakes in it, we did one shot. Because it just feels so, like, truthful and natural.
Right.
If there's cuts, like, it feels like someone's lying to you.
People always ask me after doing a show, they're like, dude, can you, like, cut some of this shit out? Or I'm like, no, man, it's all one fucking go. So, like...
Well, if you remember when you asked me to be on, I said I only want to do it if there's no editing process.
Dude, it's
if there's a mistake,
hard.
I want it to be on me, not on you, you know?
Right. It's hard, too, man. Like, it's one of those things that you gotta have... For one thing I do want to tell everybody about, I wish Camden was here because I could go through the efforts of like actually showing everybody the whole new setup we have going on. But I just built a whole new fucking computer. Also, if you guys notice, there is some fluttering in the video. That's just because of the HDMI cables. I'm gotta buy all new, expensive, nice stuff. You'd be so surprised just using cheap connectors and shit like that. Like the trouble it's given me and the bullshit I've gone through. Ooh, shit. But basically, I've rebuilt a computer. I've got a whole new array of cameras because I was doing plug-and-play USBs, and I didn't have like a strong enough computer to handle all of that extra USB crap. But there you go. Thanks. Send them a wave. But yeah, man, I upgraded everything, and Andy, you're the guinea pig, the number one, the first go.
Let's go, baby. Let's go.
I know. When Eric, your bartender, you know, from the Reef.
Yeah,
He came on. He did a real estate podcast with Angela. That was super fun. If you literally have no idea how to buy a house or are convinced that you can't buy a house, listen to that podcast. Especially if you're in mid-20s, late 20s, early 30s, you know, and you have no idea what you're doing and you think you won't qualify, you surprise yourself when you listen to that podcast, you know, and it's all about the lender. But give that show a listen. But he came on and the whole video portion of it was ruined. So I couldn't even really post the video. Yeah. And that's why I'm not using webcam cameras anymore. I'm actually using real camcorders that have HDMI on them and HDMI converters. That are little separate cards that I plug the HDMI into that goes into the back of the computer.
Okay.
USB 3.0.
Well, I guess, and also real quick, shout out Eric Martinez.
Woo!
If you need a house, that dude is one of the biggest hustlers I've ever met. If he's not working, he's thinking of new ways to make money and work. Like, you know, if you tell him that you need a house and you need a lot of help, you can show up at his, I'm not show up, I'm sorry. You can call him at 2 a.m. and if he knows that you're really trying to get something done, he's going to answer the phone. That guy just won't quit. He just won't at all. So if you need help, you can find him behind the bar at Reef, Eric Martinez. Hit him up.
Right, dude. And a whole big thing about this show that I'm trying to accomplish is when people come on and spend their time and essentially waste it if it's not done right.
Yeah.
I want to do this for the people that aren't just watching the show, but they're coming on the show because I want to give them the experience that they are expecting when they come in here, and having full availability of the recording, the things you guys said, and actually being able to get it back to them is a big thing. And so, like I said with you earlier, there's one of the cameras here that I actually do have an SD card in it that record the whole show on a hard copy. I'm digitally recording it through a computer, and clearly, blah, 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 I got the cameras.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And learning how to do that and also finding out that there's not very many apps that are free and, that allow you to do this stuff. And this camera I actually got on Facebook Marketplace for $40. And that's just because the guy didn't know what it was. He didn't realize it was an actual JVC camera, which are stupid fucking expensive.
Well, see, no, that's the thing. If you look online, everyone's always selling audio and video equipment for next to nothing because it was gifted to them or they bought it and they don't understand how devaluation works. And so if you want to get into, I mean, you know how much I'm into audio. Like, if you want to get into audio or video, if you pay attention and get some help from a few friends, you can put together a lot of stuff for really affordable.
Right. Well, the same thing goes with the computer I built. I built it off Facebook Marketplace. I found a guy that was selling a processor with a cooler on it, and it was on a pretty nice gaming motherboard that was just outdated a bit. And I spent a small amount on that, and then ended up not completely fitting in my old computer that I was my workhorse of a computer, that I thought was a workhorse of a computer, but come to find out this thing was brand new in 2011 and it's 9 years ago, guys. Holy shit, I forget how far data has come and streaming has come, or old computers like that. If you're trying to get in a lot, that's something I also want to touch on is a lot of people are getting into what I'm doing right now. By any means, I'm not cooler than you because I got into this first, whatever, if you want to start a podcast, fucking do it, so maybe listen to some of this advice, buy a really good fucking computer before you even start thinking about it. And that's I'm saying that because I do video, and I don't really get a lot of people who watch the videos, and that's not the point, but it's eventually I'll have all this figured out.
Well, no, and but with the video, you may not have a ton of views now, but if we're going to take it to the extreme, look at your David Dobrik and your Logan Paul, At first, David Dobrik's one of my favorite YouTube influencers. His first video had 20 views on it.
Right. That's right. I'm getting about 20 per video.
20 views. His last video had 7 million,
Right, and that's only on YouTube. Getting actual genuine. I have 25 subscribers on the YouTube account though, so that's
a start.
Huge
and,
for YouTube.
And then you're using YouTube, and you can cross promote against across all the platforms.
Right,
and you just get that count up, and it may suck at first. And I think obviously you have to have quality content, but a huge difference between the winners and losers in this is the people who make 5 videos and think, oh, I didn't win. I didn't get a ton of followers, so I hate this. I'm not going to do this anymore. Mm-hmm. Versus the people that said, oh, 25 people like my content. I better double down and make more content because 20 kids are waiting for my next video.
That has a lot to do with what Rondell said on one of the episodes. He, word for word, was dude, there's one motherfucker out there who listens to this and who's really has no idea who you are, but thinks you're dope. Do it for that one motherfucker.
The one guy that's excited about it.
Exactly. And it's one of those crazy things. I don't know if I've told you or I've probably mentioned it in a couple episodes recently. The last time I checked on my Spotify and analytics, I'm in 5 countries. I have.
You did mention that.
Yeah, with an average listening time over an hour and a half.
And see, that's so fascinating because, you talk about this is a locals podcast about Boise, Idaho, and yet we're getting, you're getting people that from other countries that want to hear.
So Iceland, Greenland, New Zealand, fucking Russia, I think were the ones that I saw. I can't remember all.
Which
of
is
them.
it's just a weird list of countries,
dude.
Some people just really want to. They just really want to know what's happening in Boise, Idaho.
And the original few episodes, I didn't have such a hardcore premise like that. It wasn't all about Boise, Idaho. It wasn't as strict of a thing. It just kind of developed into that, and I like that more because this has been so fun. Like, every guest that I have on, the people
of course, and Boise's such a dynamic town, you know?
Man, like Dusty, I don't know if you heard about that. He came on and he played live music on the podcast this weekend.
Oh, nice.
He came on and played live music on the show.
Dusty, what's his last name?
Dustin Isaac from the Tumbleweeds.
Oh, okay, from the Tumbleweeds. Dope. Very good. Very good.
The lead singer of Tumbleweeds came on and talked about what they were doing and how they're trying to figure it out and, you know, what's kind of next for them. And, you know, people who don't necessarily know about him, like, do you have Spotify on your phone? Fuck, dude. If you can pull it up, go for it. The podcast, and hit a like and a follow. That's the one.
Let's do it. You've met me. You know I'm this guy.
And everybody listening on Instagram or the two listeners on the Apple and Spotify combined, you guys go do the same thing. Hit that follow and like button. For real, I don't know how I keep getting viewers, and I don't know how we keep growing, but I'm not going to stop doing this. So if you guys are hanging out, I guess I'm here too. And that's the coolest part about this thing is, like I'm trying to tell my buddy Andy here, is these conversations, I'll say it once and I'll say it a million more times, would never happen if we didn't have the show.
Well, no, it's again, I come back to, if you look at Boise, Idaho, it's one of the fastest growing places in the country. Everyone's looking at Boise right now. And in the past, especially 10 years, there's been a cultural movement you've never seen in a town like this, you know? The growth of the arts and music, you know, and community ideas it's been exponential for 10 years.
Right. Well, and so it's also I feel like scary to see as well.
It can be kind of
so fast.
It can be kind of scary, but I think it's what we should be celebrating, you know? We went from a highly rural state with, you know, nothing really happening outside of a couple fairs and rodeos to now every weekend outside of COVID season, you can go down to the park and see art, tattoos, music, you know.
Lots of culture. Boise has its own little town populace, you know.
Yeah.
It's super interesting to see. And I didn't grow up for the first 15 years of my life into it, but I grew up enough, you know, where I wasn't an adult here when I moved here. I was literally 15 or something, 16 when I first moved here. And, you know, from that to now, it's almost 10 years. And so I've been here for 10 years.
Well, and see, even as an Idaho native, I'd say you have more experience in Boise than I did, because I grew up in the middle of nowhere.
Right.
We came to Boise to eat sushi. Like,
Right.
that's what we did. You go to Boise to eat sushi and to go to the Morrison Center for a concert, like, twice a year. It wasn't until I graduated from U of I and I came down here and moved into Boise. When I first moved here, I'd been living in Idaho pretty much my whole life. And I'd go on a walk for an hour every night just so I could see what was around.
Right.
I'd turn on a podcast and I go for a walk and be like, oh, that's neat. Didn't know we have that. That's cool. Never seen that before. And I just map out little routes and just go for an hour walk every night.
See, I was the kind of like Boise native that in high school we would go do stupid shit like fucking break into this old pen. Like, which a funny story about that. My girlfriend actually works at the old pen right now. She's a museum attendant or whatever. Or like, I don't really necessarily. She just works for the museum department of Idaho, so that's really cool. Actually, we went to the Idaho State Museum the other day, and you know how you go to the rock shops that all the hippies go to and buy all the rocks from? They're like fucking. The big rocks are like $40 and shit.
Yeah,
I know this because I go there and buy rocks. And I fucking was doing this stupid Idaho State Museum thing, you know. And Idaho's the gem state, so clearly they're gonna have some rocks there, you know, on display and shit. And mainly it was just kind of a little natural history and so it's only 2 years old, pretty new museum. They just built it. Cool, fun little interactive thing. But the shitty thing was that it was halfway shut down because everything's touchy feely.
Yeah,
right.
no, you can't go in and feel the experience. You gotta just visually see it now because of safety concerns.
Right, and there was a fair amount of interactive displays that were like that. So it was subpar to what it could have been, but it was a good time for sure. And you know, at the end, long story boring, I'm walking through the gift shop, dude, and they have these like full on shards of fucking quartz that are like this big around and fucking like shit you not the size of this White Claw can for $12. I was just like, dude, what the fuck? And I was like, babe, like, why didn't you tell me they sold rocks here, man?
I mean,
She was like, oh yeah, I was gonna tell you that. I knew you were gonna be fucking pumped. I'm over there like geeking out, like, oh dude, $12.
Give me a handful of them.
I'll take all of them. And you know, there's one thing that I haven't told a lot of people on the show. I'm a pretty big rock hound. You know, there's this one time where we went up by Seattle, Washington. This was so cool because it was something like you've never done it before or read about in books, you know. And we just pulled off the side of the freeway and then just led straight into the fucking side of some tree-infested mountain, like absolutely covered from fucking inch to inch to inch in tree trunks. And the crazy thing is, I don't know if anybody were you ever a roofer? Do you know what 12-12 pitch means?
No, that's I've done my construction, but I luckily got to stay out of roofing.
Right, so that almost means like nearly vertical. You know, like it's fucking, you know, and so it's so high up on this hill that like if you start hiking on a trail, then you just break off the trail and go straight up climbing through the trees, and it gets to the point where you're actually like you're not climbing or hiking anymore. You're climbing up the mountain via tree. Like you're just fucking
just pulling yourself up because
it's the craziest experience, and especially when you're on acid. But it's just one of
it wouldn't be finding rocks if you weren't doing drugs. I can say that. When a hippie tells you they had a wilderness experience, it involved mushrooms or acid. Just know that much.
Oh man, and I shit you not, we're digging through these trees, not even digging into the ground yet, and we get to the point where we reach this like platform that's been built, kind of by my two homies that I'm with. They built it themselves. They're like, this is our spot, bro. You know. And we're fucking literally like digging with our hands and fucking just a fucking little pick, you know, and we're just moving dirt. We're digging straight into the like side of the mountain because it's so vertical. Like you're not digging down, you're digging.
Yeah.
So and the crazy thing about this whole like area was like it's been so heavily populated with trees forever, but also been hit by forest fires so many times. So the pressure from all the fires is what like created all these gemstones and shit. I don't know the science behind it. I'm not a fucking geologist, but Jesus Christ, we're in the fucking dirt, tripping balls on drugs, but rocks, like not just rocks, but like full on gemstones, bro. Like fucking clear as day purple amethysts are just like the size of a fucking gumdrop or a fucking gumball, you know, like a good size gumball.
Just coming out.
Just dropping every time you fucking hit, and you're like, we're all like grabbing them faster than the next one can. I came home from that trip, and this is in Washington. I took a Greyhound home with 2.5 bags, gallon-sized bags of crystal quartz. And I was praying to the God Almighty above that it didn't get like pulled over because they were like, what are these bags of crystals in your fucking bags doing, bro? Like, what? And especially because I did like already have stuff on me that I didn't want to get in trouble for, you know, so like, I didn't want them to think even more. It's Greyhound, ladies and gentlemen. I never said it, you didn't hear it from me, but definitely take the route if you're worried about your contents being searched. It's a little less strict than flying, let me just say that much. Also, 24-hour long Greyhound trip to get from Seattle to Boise.
It's a lot of stops.
Holy shit.
No, that's a lot of stops.
You can only sleep for like 2 hours because you're just like so fucking uncomfortable. It's just like,
No, so that's super long because I have a lot of friends that, you know, they ride the bus down from Moscow for school and it's a bus, so it's slow, but that's still done in 7 hours.
Right.
It feels like it's, and then Seattle, you can fly there in 45 minutes. It takes you a whole day to ride a bus back.
Dude, you know what little fucking gold mine of a town that I've just recently gotten exposed to and I'm absolutely in love with in Idaho? Coeur d'Alene. It's fucking sweet.
It's amazing. So
Spokompton's kind of ghetto, but like fucking Coeur d'Alene, it is a dope little town.
No, it's gorgeous. So when we were at school in Moscow, every fraternity used to go and do a cruise on the lake where they have these huge boats that hold like 200 people. And you just do like one lap around the lake. It takes 3 hours. Go nice and slow. And they have a DJ and it's just a party. And we did it every year. It was so much fun.
You went to school up north, so you're not a shy to the whole Coeur d'Alene custom. Like
No, so we did several events.
Go ahead and keep this like fucking fist away from your face too. So like talk into it pretty close to me.
Oh, okay, my bad.
I sanitized it before you got here too. I do before every show.
No, so Coeur d'Alene is like when you wanted to take a vacation, it was an hour away. So it's so easy to go to Coeur d'Alene. And so we would do it a couple times a year. And it's a little town and it's so beautiful. I guess the one I really want to see, I haven't been to Sandpoint yet, which is just right by Coeur d'Alene.
Dude, where
too.
Marissa's from? Marissa and fucking.
Well, no, that's where Marissa's from, and then Nozzoli's up there running the restaurant now. So
I know he moved away, like, and I wasn't sure exactly how that was all going to work out with like the pandemic, but
well, it's his father's spot, so he's going up there to help him run that.
Oh,
but that whole area is just so secluded, and it's all, I mean, rocky mountains, big trees, and beautiful lakes. Like, what's not to like about it?
I mean, I was also just like, I'm glued to Boise. I've never had the opportunity to get out there and check it out. And my girlfriend and I got an Airbnb and went downtown Coeur d'Alene one night and just really just experienced it. It's really cool, and it's kind of interesting. I feel like the sushi there is a little better than here in Boise. It's like a little closer to the northern Washington.
I mean, it could be because they could have a Seattle sending it in.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Well,
so
Spokane's a huge municipality too. So if you buy it from Spokane, Spokane's big.
Spokane's fucking huge. Like, I didn't realize how big it was until I just.
Well, because it's like the Spokane Valley is kind of like the Treasure Valley when you look at population size, but it's much more denser there than it is here. That's the big difference.
It is. It's
because the Treasure Valley has as many people as Spokane Valley does, but it stretches from Mountain Home all the way to the border. You know?
Right. That's what's the trip too. Like it's Idaho, but it's Washington more than anything. Like it's just an interesting hybrid.
Yeah.
You know, and it's nothing like Boise, where Boise's just straight fucking its own entity, its own little breed. You know, and people, and it's making me nervous because it's starting to get brought up a whole lot more on like Joe Rogan and like all these podcasts and these travel sites and these magazines and Forbes and fucking everything. And one thing I kind of can say is that as cool as it is, but as shitty as it is, whatever you want to call it, I personally think it sucks that everybody's moving here because it's at a good level now, and it's like already unmanageable as far as the infrastructure goes. You know, like they don't have any preparation for the size that this town's about to get.
Well, so with that, I think we fell behind on that because no one ever expected Boise, and even Meridian, Nampa, and Caldwell are seeing this too. No one ever expected Boise to blow up like this. And I'm a redneck from South Nampa. I know I have plenty of family and plenty of friends that hate Californians, hate Seattle people, hate Portland people for coming in, you know, messing up the state. But I think on the other side, you got to look about it. Like my industry, the bar and restaurant industry, people from California come here like, oh, cocktails are only $8, not $27. Like I'm gonna have
Vegas.
I'll have 10 of them. You know, it's like these industries, which America's becoming a service economy. The service industry benefits greatly from people coming into this state. And then if you're talking just general economic growth, like we have some issues, like housing is a definite issue. We can't build them quick enough, so the price keeps going up. Mm-hmm. But having more people come in and bring more money into the state, I think on whole is going to be a real huge benefit for us. And Boise's become more of a big city, but it's also Boise. Cascade's just down the street. Right. McCall's just down the street. Stanley and Redfish are just down the street. We can live in that metro of Boise, and we can go see, you know, a big concert with 10,000 of our friends on Thursday night, and we can be at Redfish Lake by Friday morning.
Right.
Where else can you do that?
There's no state like this place. Like there's Colorado, there's Washington, there's Oregon. They all have their own little secret cool things about them, but it's this state being located where it is it's gotten a hybrid of everything.
And that's why I'm okay with it getting a little bit bigger, because that hybrid doesn't go away just because Boise gets a little bigger.
Right.
It just means that we, instead of, you know, only being able to get some, you know, what's a good example? Instead of getting like E40 and Ludacris coming through every year, which huge fans, now all of a sudden the DaBaby's coming every year because we're big enough to support that kind of show, you know?
Is Tech 9 still coming out here all the time?
Oh, Tech 9's never going to stop coming out here. And I fucking love it. I fucking love it.
That guy comes out here all the fucking time.
Well, I hear his family lives up in Coeur d'Alene.
Oh, really?
And then he's actually made a lot of friends in Boise. So a lot of people...
Like my tattoo artist tattoos him.
Exactly. Like people... And he knows people in Boise, and Boise He'll play 2 nights in a row and sell out. Who else could say that? I played 2 nights in a row and sell out both nights 3 months in advance of the show.
Right. That, by the way, is something we didn't really mention. DJ Brochacho, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, sir.
For those of you not listening or do not know of Andy, he is a local DJ from around here. And he's very prominent, man. He probably knows every single, if you have been to a bar at least a few times in your life down here, he has probably seen you. Whether or not you know him or recognize him, you should probably do that.
I have played your evening soundtrack.
One time or another. If you've drank downtown Boise, you've heard his music. Guys, DJ Brochacho.
I'm here.
That being said, it's kind of cool that you're here because I can talk to you a bit about your experience here. I know Brandon, one thing he did have a lot of positive things to say about was when he did come on the show, he straight up was like, dude, I'm nervous now. Like I was just kind of like, oh, cool, whatever. Fuck a podcast, cool, I'm gonna go on it. And then I get to your house, I see the setup, and I'm like, fuck, what am I gonna talk about? You know, that was his exact words. And he was just like, you see the lights, you see the cameras, like it kind of hits you a little harder. It kind of solidifies a little more that it's like, this is being recorded, this is being broadcasted, this is going to get posted, people are going to hear it, you know. And like you said, it's kind of a big thing that we're in so many different countries now, and that it's growing in the rate that it is, and because I never expected that to happen.
Yeah. No, for sure. But so I guess, we'll bring up some topics. Let's hit it.
The questions I have to say is like, what was your experience and your first thoughts when you first walked in, like, and saw everything, and you're like, oh, well, even though you've been in the studio before, you've been in my house before, like, this is clearly in my living room. I'm not fucking balling that hard to where I can pay for an offsite studio yet. Just like every other podcaster when they're starting out, you know, this is a living room studio, whatever you want to call it. But I've dedicated my entire portion of my apartment just to this show. You know, I can't even use my dining room table just to eat on it anymore. It drives my girlfriend crazy, you know. And I've put a lot of effort and dedication into this. What was your experience when you first walked in?
Well, and so walking into this, like, it feels like it's natural and guerrilla, which I like. So I do online streaming as a DJ, and like a couple of the setups I walk into are just like this, like definitely a dining room table, not mad about it. And then you see there's a nice computer, you got the mixers there, you got cameras, everything's already set up. I'm like, okay, we're gonna do this thing, we're gonna do it professionally, like we're gonna try to create good quality content. And is it in a dining room? Sure. I've DJ'd out of a bedroom before. What's the big deal? Like multiple bedrooms, I've sat up with a green screen behind me.
Right.
But that like kind of underground guerrilla aspect of just like, we're hustling. We don't know what we have here yet, but we're just going to give it our all and set up the best we can afford with the space that we are given. I think that's so fun. Like,
it's so much fun, man. I love everything I'm doing here.
And you know, you don't need the huge professional studio. You just need people with good attitudes hanging out.
Right. And it's the coolest part about it is when you do it in this aspect of things, when you do kind of like have that built not bought mentality.
Yeah.
It's something that is just, it's more wholesome, it's more passionate, it's more genuine. Everything you do is just, it's real. You know, it's you care about what you're doing here. You like every single item has been bought one at a time. I didn't buy a podcasting kit on fucking Amazon for $2,000. I just came with everything.
Right.
You know, Matt Shredder, one of our close friends, lended me this fucking soundboard. I bought the microphone stands for myself. You know, I did all this soundproofing I did by hand, and you know, my next upgrade eventually is I'm gonna hang a wire from that corner to that corner, and then put a curtain right here. You know? So that just kind of completely encloses this area from the other portion of my living room, and then I'm gonna have a curtain on this entryway right here. So literally when I'm in here, this is the studio. There's like no reason or anything blocking that state of mind, you know?
Well, so when I lived in one of the houses I used to live in, when I first started DJing, this is where I did the most practice. Is we had like 2 living rooms, as it kind of just worked out. Like one was a kind of a living room or a bedroom, however you want it to be. And so it was in the back of the house. I put one couch in it. I put the dining room table that my mom gave me. That was her old one. And then I had a couple little lights that I could, make it so it could strobe in there, and feel kind of clubby. And it was a dude in North End, Boise, just hanging out in his back room, DJing on a kitchen table to the goldfish that's hanging out there,
Right.
And it was so cheap, and like, this is nice. That shit was so cheap. It was so ghetto. I had my grandpa's speakers. The only thing that was nice was the DJ equipment.
Right.
But I spent hours and hours in there just practicing. Like, that's a spot that got me to where like people started paying me money to do this.
Right, exactly. And it's
And
all about
I still miss that studio. Like, it wasn't even nice. I still miss that studio.
Dude, that's the coolest thing about everything, man. I'm really building this one step at a time. Literally, the processing computer that's behind you right now, I built it. I built it. I bought parts, put it all together just because I was tired of. If I don't know, you guys heard the story, but there was at least 2 to 3 podcasts that were either completely ruined that were unposted because processing errors and overheating on my shit. So my processor was overheating because it was just an older computer and it just didn't have very good airflow. And it was a pretty good setup on it. It was like a newer 6-core processor and just on an old setup. It was still a workhorse for what it was. But it still wasn't enough, it still wasn't enough. So I went out and had to upgrade and restart the whole thing. And, I opened my eyes to this new world of building and, totally custom modding your own computers. Like this is just fucking so extensive. Like, it's crazy.
Oh yeah, no. I have family members and friends that do it. Like, it's a whole subset of technology.
Holy shit. And my older brother, when I was like 10 years old, maybe, like, he's 10 years older than me. So when he was like 20, he was like kind of a computer technician. So you called it back then, like the old school kind. He can take viruses off your computer, shit like that. Do a little bit of network, like small office networking and shit. He was actually pretty good at it, but I picked up some things here and there from him, but not enough. And I'm not a gamer. Don't get me wrong. Like, I have a gaming computer, but it's actually like, in order to do the processing, and if I don't do anything in 4K right now, but if I were to actually process in 4K and have multiple cameras handling 4K and doing everything in 4K, my computer needs to be at least 3 times as powerful as it is right now. And that's after rebuilding.
That's where video drags everything out of it. Mm-hmm. Like, that's the thing that takes up the most space in your processing power is video.
I've already filled up a hard drive since I started the show. And that's a 250 gigabyte hard drive. I already filled it up. So.
Oh yeah, no, I can totally see it.
Yeah, and I had to actually, I don't know if any computer nerds out there know what I'm talking about, but those of you who do or don't, here it is. I was running all of it off an old disk drive hard drive, and I didn't know that when you do have one of those hard drives, you need to keep it at like no more than 70% capacity. You need to like clear some shit off your drive. If you're running at 99% capacity or 90% capacity, it fucks with stuff. I didn't know that.
It gets tired.
It gets exhausted, and I had no idea whatsoever about that. And it's a learning process. Everything about this has been learning. And somebody, I don't remember who it was, I think it was Clay, he said, watching you grow, because I hit him up when I first started this, but one thing I did for sure when I first started this was I ignored social media for a couple months. I didn't post about the show. I didn't say to anybody I had a podcast other than the people I tried to have on to do a phone interview with, because I didn't want to use my potential range of social media too early.
You wanted to make sure you had a viable product, and then you're going to promote it. You're like, can I actually show up every week and get good content before I try to spam people with it?
Before I'm telling people I have a podcast, I want to make sure I actually have a podcast.
Yeah.
That was the key thing. And it's all of these comics right now, the main original reason why I got this idea was because this has been something I've been trying to do for a long time before COVID and before podcasts were popular, because I want to do stand-up comedy at some point, and right now that's not looking like it's something that's going to be making any money anytime soon.
No,
so the online stand-up,
I'm the out-of-work DJ, we're both sidelined right now.
I know, and it sucks. And I was already
convinced that maybe starting a podcast before getting really deep into stand-up was the smarter route. You know, like I was going to get a little bit of practice, you know, before I just got up there and because I do write stand-up, you know, and I already have been writing, and I was just like, I haven't had a whole lot of opportunity to perform stand-up, and this podcast was kind of a outlet for that because I never got the chance to.
Well, and that's, you know, and I've learned this because I've done a lot of stuff on camera. Like I've done a lot of video promo, and I've been in front of crowds, you know, working as a DJ. A big part of it too is whether or not you're social or not, you got to learn how to be comfortable in front of people and with people listening to you, you know? Like I walked into this very casual, and you saw how comfortable I was tonight, but it's because I've been doing stuff like this for 3 years.
Thank you again for coming on.
Oh, of course, but you know, I'm used to this kind of idea. Right. I've been an MC, a KJ, a DJ, a guy who just whores himself on videos to get people to come to events. Once you do all that stuff, you get really comfortable, but it's not, for very few people, I think it's like a skill that you're just born with. Like I wasn't born with it. I had to teach myself to do it.
Right.
And now it seems so natural for me, but it's because I've been doing it daily for 4 or 5 years now.
Did you see Ted's trying to start a podcast?
I did not. Is that on his Facebook?
Yeah, he posted on his Facebook, I think, over the weekend. He was asking for people to reach out to him and help him start a podcast and set up a podcast studio for him or do something like that.
Interesting. Did he say what the content is going to be?
Like, I actually hit him up.
Format?
I was like, hey, dude, I actually run a podcast. I'd be super interested on just helping you out if you need anything. Free of charge, you know, and then he just left me on red. I was like, oh, well, fuck me, right? Just go fuck myself.
No, I'm curious because
no, it might still be on his Facebook if you check.
No,
I know Anna, my friend Anna Waite, she sent me a screenshot of what the exact post he said. So I've got, which my phone is currently being used for the Instagram Live, so I can't really pull that up. Sup, dude? Is there? Oh, you got 2 people who got to wave that over there.
Oh, let's see here.
Wave. Is there anybody? Is there actually anybody watching? Because I don't have very many followers.
We got one right now, and that's Instagram Live.
No, cool.
We're a couple of nobodies right now. Check back in a couple of years.
Well, to be fair, when I did the live with Dusty, I think my peak was 10.
Yeah.
On the live, which is pretty good, but that's also my personal Instagram, and I don't like mingling the personal Instagram with this show, just because this is its own thing.
It should be, it should be targeted when you cross promote.
And the main reason, yeah, exactly. It was one of those things, like it was a special event. It was the first live music episode I've ever done on the show with Dusty, especially, and you know, it was kind of like one of those things that I wanted to do for him as far as giving him more outreach by the fact that I have over 1,000 followers on my personal and only 100 or so on my podcast.
No, you're going for the high reach, reach.
Yeah, exactly, and. You know, dude, the fucking music sounded so good. Like, for some reason, because he played an acoustic guitar and he played it into the mic. He was gonna, I was gonna set him up a pencil mic for the guitar, and he was like, no, that's cool. I was like, sure, dude. And he's like, and after the fact, he was like, God damn it, you should have set up the fucking pencil mic. Because I fucking told you, dude. I even got the Cahoon out, and we were jamming for a little bit, but we were kind of redlining a little bit with the Cahoon because. You know, we weren't ready for those kind of mixes and levels and stuff. We were more prepared for talking podcasts, not for higher levels of decibels.
Oh no, say that's getting into high level sound tech work there.
Mm-hmm. I have no idea what I'm doing.
But you can learn,
dude, and I have been, man. Like
you gotta struggle through it, dude. That's how it is.
In the smartest way that I think that I've kind of crossed some of those hoops, or you know, whatever cameras, crossed some of those hoops is using a soundboard. I went out and I saved myself some money instead of going out and buying a fucking $500 audio interface that converts it to USB, which I do recommend if you do to get a USB 3.0 one, not a USB 2.0 one, because there really is a fucking difference. Don't ask me why, but there is.
No, it's just so much faster.
Oh, fucking A, dude.
It's way faster.
Yeah, I'm running mine. It's a USB 2.0, but basically, long story short, I was using a bunch of like extenders and splitters off of the front USBs on an older PC. Fucking don't do that. Don't do that. You guys think about how much power actually goes through these cameras and these units.
Well, no, and every time you use an extender and a splitter, we talk about this in audio. Every time you use another connector, you're dropping decibel.
Right.
Like that connection loses power.
Right.
And so every time you're gonna do a connection and a split, you're just hurting yourself. Spend the extra $10, get the cord that's the length you right. That's right for you, you know. Get the right cord. That's what you got to do.
That makes a lot of sense too. Like right now, believe it or not, so my cable on my mic is the only mic that's actually a microphone cable. The other two are light cables. And I didn't know this because I ordered them from the music store, and I just bought them because they're the cheapest ones. But they ended up working for what I'm doing because I'm not doing super high levels and stuff. But it's like basically the next upgrade I'm doing is that, like, among many. But
well, if Guitar Center is open right now, there's one up by my house off of Curtis, just Curtis and the connector there. Can't remember what that. I think it's Curtis and Fairview.
Right.
Those guys are dope.
Dude,
they know me. I go in, I buy cords about once every month and a half. They're like, what are you doing? I'm like, DJing. Like, oh, your basket makes sense now. You bought 0 instruments and still spent $100.
And audio equipment's expensive. But the one thing that I did kind of do that saved me some money was I started out with the soundboard. And the soundboard does actually have 9 to 10 inputs on it. I think, 10 inputs on it. Which allows me to have up to like 3 people on the podcast with a sound effects board or four microphones is about the max I want to do. But the best part is I only have one input into the computer, so I do all the mixing on the soundboard versus having 5, 6, 7 different inputs onto the computer and taking strain on your CPU. Because I'm not running any USB mics. I'm running one USB input into the computer, but all my mics are running.
No, straight through one mixer. So your computer's taking one sound.
Exactly.
The mixer's taking 2. Well, right now 2. It could be 2+, and then combining it into one sound.
Do you know anything about wave format?
Yeah,
like wave audio format. I just kind of was introduced to that recently.
See, I'm not super knowledgeable about it. The one big thing I know is it is the most high quality format of audio you can get. So, like when we talk about club music, so you through different sites to get my music from, I can download like club in 320 kilobytes per second.
Right.
Wave comes in at 2,800 kilobytes per second.
Oh wow.
And 320 is the standard. If you go up to the wave, it's coming at 2,800.
Right.
It's that clear and clean.
Well, he was telling me that since I'm really just doing the podcast, I should look into saving my files in wave format. But kind of see, and I have this whole wall soundproof for that fucking reason right there.
It's crazy how these mics are doing good.
Dude.
With the soundproof, it still picks up that little bit of motorcycle going by.
They're good mics, but the thing is, like, it's a really fucking loud big hill right there. So people, when they do go up, they send it. And, like, I have layers and layers that are packed into this window. Fire hazard for sure. But layers and layers of shit packed into this window. Thickness on thickness, then cardboard. Like, 10 layers of cardboard over all the stuff that I have. And then I have fucking felt blankets packed on top of everything else.
No,
and then egg cartons in the corners, which I still, once I get that curtain, I'm also going to either do the curtain. I was thinking putting the curtain there for people who aren't watching, sorry, but I was thinking about putting the curtain up in that corner. That way I can still access the door back there and just have this just little fucking area. So, like, not going to be able to eat dinner right here anymore, but dedication.
Okay, shit, man. At our age bracket, who actually sits down at a dinner table?
I'm Italian.
Okay, I'm sorry. I forget that. If we're going to be doing pasta, we got to do it at the dinner table.
You saw me making garlic bread with fucking mac and cheese, okay? Literally. Kraft mac and cheese. And I'm like, oh, no, I need garlic bread. And literally, I'm like fucking 5 cloves of garlic smashed, pressed, fresh on this fucking garlic butter I made. You walk in, I'm like, oh, that's a fuckload of garlic. You're like, that's how it's supposed to be. I'm like, bro, I'm pretty sure if you ate this, your toes would curl.
Oh, no, you don't even understand. I was making pico last week, and I was shaving garlic. Actually, I wasn't. So I was going to shave it real thin, but instead I got the cheese grater and made it real small, like the smallest setting. So it literally turned it into garlic oil. I put in this pico de gallo. Me and my family, we do garlic, bro. Just had oh, thank you, sir. No, we had the pico nice and spicy with lots of lime and lots of garlic. Had like 10 people there. I made a shitload of it. It was gone in 10 minutes.
Dude, your family seems like a super radical
unit. You know,
it's an experience.
The way you talk about them, it's always in a positive way. It's just like your mom and your dad are always like they got your back, especially in the pandemic. There was
and they do. Well, and you saw my Snapchats last week. Like, they got our back, and it's an interesting family.
Oh, yeah, when Matt was playing the drums around the circle fire and shit.
I was saying, my cousin and my dad were playing guitar, and they were singing that John Denver, Take Me Home, Country Roads. That's not that weird of a thing for my family to have happen.
Dude, Dusty, I think we were saying this off air. Excuse me, everybody. Dusty wants to do another show live with his percussionist and maybe his bass player. With no podcast, just a live stream.
Just a show, yeah.
Yeah, and you were talking about doing that with me too. Like, dude, you're just like, dude, you've got this dope ass studio. Well, like, let me come over.
Do music with
let me come over and bring my DJ gear. Can I just fucking borrow your shit? I'll bring you booze.
Well, it's you have a setup. Let's make the most time out of it.
That's literally, I spend so much money in rent here a month that's why I kind of figured I might as well do something like this because I'm actually getting the most out of my situation. I'm not just living in a good part of town.
Well, and it's, when we talk about you starting up, my social media followings, like if I come play a show here, we're talking about, I think it's like 900 on Facebook and 800 on Instagram that follow me.
Right.
And so we can make a cross promo set. We can have our friends over, and we can just make an event out of it.
Dude, that's actually one of the biggest things too. I haven't been posting on is Facebook. And somebody kind of gave me shit about it during the show recently. They said, "Dude, what the fuck, man? Like, why don't you? Where's the Facebook?"
Well, if you have you have the video, you should put it to Facebook.
I know, but it's one of those things I forget about it. It's like Facebook's for family. I have on my personal Facebook, I have 2,000 friends on Facebook that I personally like have interacted with at least once.
Yeah,
like. Which is a weird thing to say in the modern day and age. But yeah, in order to be friends with somebody on Facebook, you just got to interact with them one fucking time. Or have known them, recognize their face, and that qualifies for you to be friends nowadays in 2020.
Oh, dude, I'm to the extreme. So on my Facebook right now, and this is why I like using Facebook as a promotional platform. Like, it's great to catch up with people and be there. But if we're going to be honest, the promotional aspect of it is huge. I have 4950 friends on Facebook. I'm almost at the cap.
Right. It used to be better though.
Face to face
used to be better. Originally, when they first dropped like the ad situation where you can run promotions, where they first allowed you to do that, and it wasn't all based around the corporations who can give you a fuckload of money, and you can actually just run a genuine ad, and people would actually see it and click on you.
Yeah.
Dude, I was not even advertising on Craigslist. Like, I was making so much money just on the Facebook ads.
Well, and so do you listen to Gary Vaynerchuk?
I don't. Shout him out.
Well, I mean, he's not going to hear this one. That's Gary.
Shout him out like for other people.
Oh no, so Gary Vaynerchuk, Vayner Media. I listen to him. You should listen to everyone. If you want to be influential in the social media space, he talks about, like you were just talking about how Facebook used to be cheaper. He talks about which platforms are the most affordable for advertising because he talks about. He's like 5 years ago. He says it costs nothing to advertise on Facebook. Yeah, says, like your price per click was just fucking stupid. You would spend nothing and have a ton of traffic. And right now, like the guy, he started as a liquor store manager for his father, and then started an online wine store, and now has $100 million social media marketing company.
Dude, I'm looking at nowadays versus what I'd be looking at back in the day. Like I am looking into getting a website design and all this and that because I just started I branched out my company that I own and we're doing all the kinds of these new things. But man, it's fucking like I got quoted like a year or two ago from the same guy that gave me the second quote, but he said, "Hey man, $300-400, I'll build your website." I just didn't have the money for it at the time. I was like, nah, it's not something I need. Now that my company is growing at an excessive rate, he reached out on a cold call to me and was like, "Hey man, like I see you doing big things with your company. Do you still need a website?" It's like, "Yeah, I do. I'm gonna put you in touch with my partner. Why don't you talk to him about it? And let you guys do your thing." He gets back to me, my partner does, and he's like, "Dude, fucking homie wants $5K to fucking build your website." And I was like, whoa.
Okay, see, no. He thinks you're dumb if he offers that.
I was like, bro, tell him to fly a fucking kite, bro. Like, we already have a domain name on Google. Like, it's not like we need to fucking worry about it. We have cmyllc.com already domain, so we don't need to get it right this minute. We can build the website at any time. We have the domain.
But the thing is, like, I guess like I know people will build it for cheaper than that.
Exactly.
Like, I got a guy who could do a decent one who'd be excited for $150, or I got someone who's gonna just kill it for you and it'd be $400 or $500.
I mean, that's how my graphic designer lady is too. She's super rad. She did the graphic design for my album artwork on this. Paid her to do it during the first couple of weeks of COVID, and she's designing my logo right now, which we're changing the logo to. You know what the Matador looks like? Their logo.
Yeah.
We're doing something just like that, like a Taurus or a bull with the bull ring. Mm-hmm. And then we're just gonna do CMY LLC, simple, because then we want to. Fucking sell T-shirts and shit that'll look actually kind of cool, because if we're gonna have a brand, have a name, have something.
Make it accessible. Don't make it too pigeonholed into.
Exactly.
It doesn't have to necessarily for the merch. It doesn't have to be tile necessarily.
Exactly.
You can also put the shirt that has the CMY and then says tile.
Right. Well, we don't just do tile. We're we're a GC.
Oh, okay. You're in general because I know about the tile work. I didn't know about the general contract.
No, yeah,
work.
but now we're a GC, so we do everything. We totally expanded full fledged. Like we subcontract work out to fucking companies that don't do the work that we do personally, and then we do a lot of the work ourselves. What we can handle, but what we don't, we get it handled for you.
Yeah, no, bring in a homie that can make it happen.
Exactly. We take the lifting off your back, and you just want us to do something. You're like, hey, I need this done too. All right, cool. We'll figure it out. We'll get you a price.
Yeah.
Don't need you to call 20 people, hire a contractor. No, you just talk to me and I'll get it fixed. And that's the whole goal of the thing now. Yeah.
Well, a large part of my upbringing was defined by farming and construction.
Right.
So my first job was building pasture, like for cattle, and I kind of at this point think it was a cruel joke, but it was also really good for me. My grandfather hires me to build a pasture for him, and he wants the green fence posts. You've all seen them driving down the road, green fence posts. He wants them 2 feet deep into the ground.
Right.
Actually, maybe even been 3 feet deep. I'm like, that's really deep. And he's like, the second part is we're doing it next to a gravel pit. So a gravel that's literally where people just go mine rocks.
That's
so to get the post to where you want them to, you have this like 25 pound post hole hitter, and you go like this, and it took on average, I counted it once because I was getting frustrated. It was like 225 hits to get one post done.
Fuck.
And we did a couple hundred.
So with the post hole digger?
No, not a digger. It's you put you push the post into the ground, and then you have a steel tube with a weight on the end and handles, and you just hold it way above your head, and you come down as hard as you can.
Yeah, I know. It's red, bright red.
Mine was green, but you can get whatever color you want.
To those of you who are color specific, you can get any.
But that was like the first job I ever had. That's what you're gonna do is you're gonna pound post holes, and you're gonna learn how to weld, and you're gonna string it.
You're gonna fucking hate it.
And 2 years later, he has me do one out by the lake where all the ground's soft. It took not 250, took 7 hits to get that deep. And I was like, oh my God, fuck me.
Dude, when the ground is hard like that, it just completely makes the job harder.
But what's kind of cool about upbringing like that though is ever since that, and then going to construction where it's like 4 degrees outside, and I pick up a concrete blanket, and the first thing it does is just dump water down my front. Right. And I know I got 12 hours left. Like, going from that to this now, I'm like, oh God, everything's easy.
So give me the day in the life of Andy Clements right now.
The day in the life.
Yes. Give me the Andy Clements show.
So I guess now, like the day in the life of the Andy Clements show, it's gonna get personal.
Let's hear it.
I wake up between like 8:30 and 10 every morning, depends on what time I go to bed. Get up, go say hi to the roommates. And then this is the part that people think is weird about me, but I take a bath every morning.
Word.
Dude, it's sick. You get on Twitter, you get on Facebook. You get on Twitter, you get on Facebook. You read all the news that's going on. I watch all the sports highlights and just like relax for an hour. Like if you call me during that hour, you don't get an answer.
Do not disturb.
Yeah, like I'll hang up on you and text you say, fuck you, I'll talk to you at noon.
That's funny shit. I'm gonna have to give that a try.
And if you turn on the shower head when you're laying in the bath, it feels like it's a warm rainfall on you, like a tropical rainforest. That's how the everyday pretty much starts. And then after that, like I read a book, do a journal entry, and then practice Spanish every day.
Okay. Nice.
Trying to find some positive things to do because I was like, you could be only so angry and pissed and sad all the time. You gotta find some positive things. So that's the positive stuff I'm doing. And so that leads you up to like 12 or 1, and then that's time to head into the restaurants. And I got projects, got marketing, got a floor to run.
Right. One thing I can say about your marketing genius is one of the best things you've told me to do. Actually, it was a small thing, but went far. Was log into my Facebook on a computer and select send to all my friends on a request to like my business page, and that got me probably like 40 likes. It was absolutely amazing.
Oh yeah, no, especially depending on what the business is. I even did that. So Sarah Murray owns Meraki Salon.
She owns it. Okay.
Yeah, no, she's the owner. So me and her did this as like a promo trade because we're both sitting on hella friends. She invited all of her friends to like DJ Brochacho on Facebook, and I invited all my friends to like Meraki. We both got like 150, 200 likes out of the deal, and I was like, why is this not a networking norm?
Right, man.
Like people who are knowing everyone, like let's do this stuff together.
Right. And that's also why I'm really trying to be adamant about this video part, the portion, because like now not only am I doing high quality 1080p video aside from something on my cell phone, I'm not using the cell phone as my main basis of, power and control like some people do. Oh yeah, let's fix that. Perfect. Yeah. 4861. Probably shouldn't say my password for my phone on a podcast, but anyways. None of y'all heard that.
Are you scared, bitch? Are you scared?
Oh, I mean, hackers love me. So why don't you go ahead and go X on that. Wait, hit cancel. No. Download video, share to Instagram TV live. There we go. There you go. Boom. And then just start another one. Yeah, Instagram TV live, guys, for those of you who don't know this, only goes for about an hour.
Ooh.
Sorry, listeners. At least we don't hit the red marks. Cool. That still didn't even go red. That was in the yellow. So at least nobody's eardrums are broken. But yeah, so Instagram Live only goes for about an hour. And on all the other podcasts, I have actually just not hit it. But, I'm trying to pay attention to these things. And it's really ironic that it's being brought up right now because we're talking about it. I'm trying to get to the point where a lot of clout and a lot of exposure to people who follow you and people who watch you, there's a big base of people who don't watch or listen to podcasts on YouTube or even maybe on their phones and things like that. A lot of them just go to Instagram, and some people... I have a complete basis of people who know about my show just based off my Instagram clips, and they see it on my story, this, that, and another. So they don't actually go out of their way to go listen to the show, but they're like, oh no, I saw that clip of Jared, blah, 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 and I got to keep, now they're kind of expecting that from me,
Well, and that's where you can go on Facebook too. So you look, a lot of the big YouTuber guys, they create edits, whether it's a gamer or someone who has a podcast or someone who just does their normal show. You do the edits like a highlight reel.
Right.
So the normal show, like we're going to go an hour and a half, 2 hours tonight. Pick like the 2 minutes of shit that's actually funny and really good.
Exactly.
Because I'll be honest, I'm not perfect. Who knows that this is actually good?
Right.
Let's take the 2 minutes that's good, and then that's the edit that goes on Facebook.
And that's why I'm super excited about this episode, because I do have the new workhorse of a computer. I do have the capability, and I finally learned how to overclock I had a lot of really good components on my computer, but I didn't know how to access the full potential of them.
Yeah.
And which something that you can do if you don't know how to do this is called overclocking. And overclocking is basically when you do have sufficient airflow or sufficient cooling in your PC or your tower. It gives you the opportunity to overpower your shit. So essentially, it changes the coding in your processor and in your video graphics card to run at a fucking higher performance than it's graded for,
Yeah.
Which doesn't actually hurt it because they have the cooling fans, they have the capability to run at these hotter temperatures and to run at this higher performance rate. And I finally learned how to do all this. So right now my fucking processor is running like a fucking it's full capacity right now. It's being accessed. And I'm going to have that same capacity and power when I'm editing. And that's a big fucking thing, man. Like, and again, right now I am recording in 1080p, but I'm only posting in 720. So that is a big thing too. That helps.
Well, that's something I've heard a lot of too, is most people, as long as you hit 720, no one's ever upset. They're totally fine.
Yeah, as long as you got 720.
It comes down to your content should be quality, but you're not losing viewers over 4K.
Exactly, you're not. And I actually do. I have some funny story. I have this 2.7K camera that I got, you know, and it's if you go look up on Amazon, they run for about 150, 200 bucks. 4K or 2.7K, 36 megapixel cameras. And this thing looks badass, but it's a piece of trash. Complete paperweight. Like, if you try to use, like, there's a USB camera setting on it that allows you to use it as a webcam. Complete trash firmware that literally crashes your computer. Doesn't make my computer crash, like my computer's so strong that it handles it, but it makes the video and the audio.
Yeah, no, just get super laggy.
Everything, it fucks everything up. Just the software on it, the coding in it, just completely fucks everything up, right? So that has one thing I can give advice to anybody that I've already tried to like steer towards starting a podcast is if you do this, guys, do not run webcams. Do not run nice cameras with webcam settings on them, like your DSLR cameras, your Nikon cameras that you shoot photos with that have that setting. Buy a video capture card. And what these are is they are completely separate units that plug into the USB 3.0 or USB 2.0 on the computer. And these are units that you plugged an HDMI cable directly into, and it converts that HDMI live feed from the camera into a USB camera. It's actually taking a lot less off of your computer because it's all being ran on that little card itself, not on the motherboard or on the graphics card or on the processor. So if you are going to start a podcast or get into anything along those lines, get video graphic capture cards. Get a good video card. Get a good processor. Don't use a bunch of webcams. Find a good software. And one of the problems, like I said, that I was telling you, the 720 thing that I'm running into is right now everything that I'm paying for, like I have Adobe Photoshop Pro, but their editing software is super expensive. Like you have to pay for the Adobe program for photo, and then the video package on top of it, which is literally the same price. So you're paying $15 a month for one of them, and then $15 a month to be able to edit videos. So right now, what I'm using, but that gives you the access to 4K and 10.
Actually, wait, hold up. So 30 all in?
Yeah,
actually,
it's not that bad.
I'll be honest. I'm gonna call you out right now.
It's not that bad.
Pony up, big dog. 30 is not
it's
bad.
Not that bad, and
dude.
So,
I'm paying $10 a month just to have Microsoft Word, Excel, and PowerPoint.
Right.
Like that's not bad.
But that's also right now I'm paying just to have my platform. I pay monthly for that.
What is the monthly to have a platform? Because I know a lot of people are curious about this. I've thought about starting a podcast.
I pay for a regular podcast host account, which puts me on Spotify. That was the hardest part, by the way, is getting on an RSS feed and getting your RSS feed approved for Apple and Spotify. That itself took me 2.5, 3 weeks of just trying to figure out how to do it, trying to get approved, paying somebody who was a video graphic designer to do my logo and to make my logo the correct size that would work with Apple and Spotify. Yeah. It's a lot of work. But monthly, it costs me about $15 a month to have
okay. So
access.
no, see, like I mean, that's something obviously
that's with unlimited hours of posting.
And so see, like over a year, you know. What is that? You're gonna spend $150, but that's really not bad.
No, not at all.
Like not at all. People spend so much more money for so much less. You know, to get my music, like some of the pools we're on, because if you get it from the pool, you pay a monthly fee and you can get as much as you want.
Right.
But if you do that, like it's still just that record pool alone is $50 a month, and you probably want 2 of them.
So, that being said, it's only that much a month because I pay for unlimited access to hours. So if I were to just run a free podcast, you can post maybe about 2 to 3 hours a month. I think maybe 5. I think the top is 5 hours per month, maybe. But if you're posting a weekly episode, you're capping it. It might be even 3 hours because I remember like even just starting out, the first thing I went and did was like, no, I need to have the ability because I reached my cap super quick. I was like, fuck, dude, like I need to have.
I did one show.
Yeah, I did. And the biggest thing about this show I've learned is actually being super strict about the fact that I have guests. Nobody gives a shit about Casey. Me, whatever this is. Nobody fucking cares. They care about what this is right here, what we are doing, what we're talking about. The person that comes on, you know, the culture I'm bringing with that person. Like that's what's really giving a shit about. Not me. If I were to sit here and ramble, blah, 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 just sit here in a microphone, nobody would fucking listen. You know, and it's you're fine.
Oh, no, it's saying, no, if you're going to go the Rush Limbaugh route, that's another way to go. More dangerous. Definitely more dangerous.
I mean, you can be an absolute wizard with what you do on those things. Like if you're, don't get me wrong, you can do that. You can do it right.
You can do the solo show, but the amount of content that has to be just so hard, you know, like that top quality, perfect content, it's really tough to get.
And perfect editing and perfect video and just clickbaity perfect.
If you notice, all the best podcasters they always have guests because you need that dialogue.
Mm-hmm. Guests or previously established fame.
But you can build
look
that
at the
fame.
Bill Burr show. He talks by himself on every Monday, like Monday morning podcast.
And I guess this might be kind of a dated example. That's why I use Rush Limbaugh.
Which honestly, I know the name, but remind me.
I'm not. He's one of the most divisive guys in American politics. He's hella conservative, a syndicated show across all of America. Love or hate what he has to say, the man knows how to get viewers and how to put together 2 hours of content every day.
Right.
Very few people can do that, you know?
There's another guy on Instagram. I don't know if you've watched the Instagram TV politics videos where he says, turn your phone to the left real quick. You're scrolling and it's like an Instagram TV video. He's talking. He says, "Hold up." And he says like a catch line, not a catch line, but says something like about politics. And then he's like, "Well, turn your phone to the right." And then you turn your phone and it shows a full screen, but Instagram TV doesn't exit it out or like make you click anything.
Okay.
And your phone on Instagram doesn't have a lock portion or a lock settings, so like it's always vertical. But it gives you the ability to be watching Instagram and suddenly have full immersive on the screen. And he like actually taught you. Subliminally turn the phone, bring me your attention. Yeah.
Interesting.
Oh, God,
that's
it's
super
so
interesting.
ingenious. It's so ingenious because the second you turn your phone, you're still scrolling. You're not locked in. You don't have to you can literally keep scrolling down and turn your phone back, but you consciously turn the phone and come in onto what he's saying. You know, your attention is just grabbed. It is absolutely fucking wizardry, bro. You're a fucking wizard, Harry. This is some Hogwarts shit. I'm telling you, like this guy is a genius, and he's a stand-up comedian. But go to Instagram right now. Open Joe Rogan's Instagram, and then the first thing that you will find is a couple posts by him recently, and he posted he posted one of his videos on his Instagram within the last week. So, Jesus Christ, White Claws, ladies and gentlemen, drink Trulies. White Claws are for pussies.
Okay, what's the name? The only video I see in the past week is of a puppy, which I'm not mad about. Not mad about it at all. That's really what I think 90% of internet content should really be.
Joe Rogan.
Say, puppies and raccoons. If your internet is not giving you that all the time, you are doing the internet
This guy
wrong.
right here.
Turn your phone while this video's still up. This week, a presidential candidate said the most short bus, extra SAT time, helmet-headed, drool-dripping...
Andrew Schultz, right?
Yeah, no, I've seen this dude before.
I bet you have. That's what I meant. Yeah. Now you remember him.
was asked how he felt about pedophile, sex trafficking...
No, I like that, though.
So go ahead. No, keep it playing on the show for a second.
Stop protecting pedophiles. Turn your phone
I'm going to go
while this
pee.
video's still
But
up.
keep it playing on the
This
show
week,
because
a
it's actually really relevant.
presidential candidate dripping, extra chromosome, subbed in the last play of the season shit I've ever heard. No, Kanye, not you. Donald Trump was asked how he felt about pedophile, sex trafficker, and dirtfoot whore Ghislaine Maxwell, and he said out of his bleached asshole of a mouth,
I don't know. I haven't really been following it too much. I just wish her well, frankly. But I wish her well, whatever it is.
What? Of all the things you could wish for the most prolific prepubescent pussy peddler of all time, well shouldn't be one of them. She's trafficked more teens than the Backstreet Boys bus driver. You could wish she stays alive long enough to get justice. You could wish she gets a fake FedEx delivery. You could wish she gets skull fucked by Shaq. But wishing her well? What the hell happened to you? Be a real Republican and call her a fucking bitch. Who is this PC president? Trump, how can you be so harsh on the trans... when you clearly turn yourself from a dick to a pussy?
We're not live, right?
Yes, we are.
We are?
Yep.
On what?
Everything.
Okay, perfect. Just making sure. It started cutting out.
The video did?
Yeah, no, I was losing service.
Oh, I should have got you on the Wi-Fi. Sorry about that, guys. Quick pee break. Spontaneous pee break. Oh. Nice. Well, I'm glad I was able to find that video so quick, too. It popped up. So, you know the guy.
Oh, no, I mean, I watch political videos all the time, so yes, I've seen the guy, you know.
That's what I was... Oh, what happened to the Instagram? Are you sure you want to...
Here, we can get it going. Hold up. I don't think anyone jumped on this one, so we'll just restart it again.
Well, you could have saved the video, though. You should have. Sad. But that's okay. We're live on plenty of other platforms. I mean, like you said, man, you walked in the room and it was immersive. It was cool. And the Instagram Live is kind of a new thing I've only been doing for the last, 5 episodes. Again, guys, this is episode 22, actually. 22 of season 2. This is the second season.
So what is it, almost 40 episodes then now?
If you include the ones that aren't posted, I'm about 40, 50 episodes, yeah.
Yeah. Let's go.
And to me, I started this right when quarantine hit. So the first month of quarantine maybe is when I first posted an episode. And at the time I was recovering from a broken back and still kind of just sitting at home all the time. And a lot of what it was I had every excuse to do it.
Yeah, there's nothing else going on.
Nothing I had to do. And to get back to kind of what we were talking about earlier with how hard it is to do something like this is it took me 2 40-hour weeks of sitting on the computer doing it.
Yeah.
To get it actually established. Just sitting on the computer working at hours and hours a day of podcast equipment, shopping, getting deals, doing the fucking RSS feed, trying to figure out what an RSS feed was, how to get it on the Apple, why it didn't get approved, making new emails for the fucking podcast. Dude, there's a huge list and just amount of shit that just goes into this that you never ever would have thought at all, And sorry guys, we didn't change the cameras at all. To those 2 people on the YouTube, sorry, sorry. Like I said, we don't have Camden, the man, the myth, the legend that generally does the camera work for me, and it's so nice when he does do it because when he doesn't, it really makes me appreciate having somebody sit over
how much
there.
effort goes behind the back.
Oh yeah, because all it is just before. We used to have multiple camera angles and then one camera angle with a full screen of the camera and then the other camera in the corner. So you'd see both of them, but that actually took too much strain on my computer. The app that I use has a lot of encoding that it does. So adding different sources like that actually really isn't if you don't have to do it, don't.
Yeah.
It was just unnecessary extra steps that I was taking. And so now I've realized 2 camera angles for now and then until I buy another video capture card because you don't want to run any of these cameras off of their webcam settings or, run extra webcams and shit like that. for some stupid reason. Like I literally recorded full shows and then realized that just because having an extra third camera that was a webcam that I would sometimes switch to like show the full room, it would distort the audio in some way.
Interesting. No, that's...
Oh my God, did you have no idea? It was such a fucking piece of shit hassle with every little step of the way. Basically, initially, I started the podcast on my laptop.
Yeah.
And then I had a nice big desktop computer, and I was like, well, this is faster, has more RAM and more, has a graphics card and stuff. There's no reason why I shouldn't use it. And then for some reason, just that computer, like being older than the laptop, but it still had more power, just didn't handle the shit right. And then like, I also had just bought a new camera off of Facebook Marketplace that was normally like a $200 camera on Amazon. I got it for like $50. Didn't realize that using that camera was causing issues on its own. And like, it just really just these little things that I didn't think about.
Yeah. Oh, of course.
Completely would ruin an episode. Somebody would come over because I was like, fuck it, dude. Like this program can run up to 7-10 cameras, you know? So I would run like 4 cameras, 3 cameras, but some of them would be on USB 3.0 ports or like 2.0 ports. And even though it has nothing whatsoever to do with my audio, the video itself or using those cameras would trash the input coming in. Like, it would cause issues, dude. It was
it's because your computer just runs out of memory, runs out of power.
It just capped out. It just capped out really quick. And like, and it was kind of really crazy to me because like, I didn't have any of these issues until I switched from the laptop. And I used to have the laptop like right in front of me, and it was kind of distracting. It was like it took away a lot from this. Like, I like not having the big screen right in front of me. I like having just more of the you and I. And so, but to me, it made complete sense that, oh, I have this big computer. Like, why am I recording on a laptop? I'll just move everything over to the desktop. And then from there, I just ran into problem after problem after problem. You know, so again, that's why I'm so excited to fucking process this video, edit it. You know, I put a massive stress test on my fucking graphics card today after actually figuring out that there's a certain program that you can download that will turn your graphics card into its max capacity capability. You know, like when I was running my graphics card, I would literally visually see that the fans on it weren't running. Like, it wasn't actually being put to any use.
Yeah.
You know, it was like, oh, that thing's not even getting hot. Like, it's not doing anything. So now I clock it like 10 times the fucking amount of what it was before. And I swear to fucking God, if I go on this podcast after this and find any form of fucking imperfection, I'm going to go drop $300 more on new shit. More new shit. Because like now the next thing I can do at this point is so the motherboard that I have, nerd talk for a minute, motherboard that I have is old, but it's newer than what I had. So I still upgraded, but it was old.
Yeah.
It's still old.
No, of course.
So now if I really want to drop some money, you know, I can fucking go buy a new motherboard and a new processor and new RAM. And then I can, from there, drop. So if I drop about another $450, basically another computer, I can get all new components for this one and it'll upgrade it again. But that'll be with like all new everything instead of upgrading what I currently have. If I upgraded what I currently had, I can probably drop like $250, you know. But the reason I want to upgrade into just a whole new everything, it'll give me the process and the power to have 2 graphics cards.
Yeah. No. So okay.
And that's the biggest thing. Like, you can have 1 graphics card or you can have 2. And right now, this motherboard is nice, it's new, but it only has 1 graphics card port. I want to get a board that allows me to do that. And this is DDR3 RAM. And DDR3 is outdated as fuck. All the new boards are DDR4. So like, if I like make the initial bite and bullet to buy a board that handles all the DDR4 and the new processors and stuff, it's going to be expensive to start up, but it'll last me another 10 years.
Yeah,
of upgrades. This one I only
buy big once and make it happen.
Yeah, this one I can only upgrade for another couple years before it becomes super outdated. You know. Get back into what you're talking about fucking starting a podcast, guys. Buy a Mac.
They're expensive but good.
Holy fuck! Like his Mac is from 2012, but his MacBook Pro would not have any of the issues that I just tried to talk to you guys about.
Well,
for 10
no,
minutes.
see, it would have some of those issues, but it's it's you know, I can stand behind the Mac. You're gonna overpay for fucking everything, but you're gonna get a nice computer that'll take care of you for pretty much everything except for high video, you know, production. And that's you know, actually just kidding. The new ones can really do that, but I'm running a 2012 because I go retro with my computers.
Other than you sleeping on the couch and it being your birthday and me taking a nice seat in your flower bed outside for about 20 minutes because I fell in it. Did you hear about that?
No, I have not yet, but it sounds like something that would happen in my house. Also, I'm allowed to go to bed early because I drink a lot of whiskey, and we're gonna be honest, it's my birthday. It's okay.
I saw you maybe 4 hours before that moment, and you were trash.
Hey, you know what? You have a good time a couple times a year, and I took that night. I was like, if you can cry on your birthday, you can get fucked up on your birthday and sleep on the couch, and that's exactly what I did.
So of all people downtown, one thing that you can kind of give me some light on is the busiest nights of the year downtown. My professional opinion, and I say professional is because being any bartender who's worked at any speed bar at any nightclub in the vicinity of 6th and Main or Balcony or Fatty's, any of those areas, you know, you can call yourself a professional when it comes to the bar industry.
Yes, yeah. No, I got some experience.
What do you think are the busiest days of the year downtown?
Well, so I mean, obviously and also I'm going to cover too what people think is the busy nights that aren't the busy nights. So your busy nights are going to be Cinco de Mayo, you know, your New Year's Eve, the first Saturday that it hits 85 degrees.
Okay. That's one I didn't think about.
No, it's Boise. People love the weather in this town. If it's too hot, they stay home. If it's too cold, they stay home. When you have that, but after you come out of winter when it's snowing all the time, first time it hits like 80 degrees, patio season is open, baby. Like the sundresses are out, the short shorts are out, like everyone's going out.
It's college town.
Yeah, I mean,
major college town.
Yeah,
People,
no,
it's not necessarily 6th and Main being the college portion of like the main.
No, that you're going down
traffic
to your
and,
suds and end zone for that. But no, your big night, like the biggest night is still always going to be New Year's Eve. And then you got your Halloween. St. Patrick's Day, honestly, it's kind of hit and miss in this town.
This year it was. You got to base it off every other year. No, same. So
No, I'm saying outside this year it was dog shit. Because
well, we can't
everyone went out. Everyone went out this year for St. Patrick's Day with the idea that the bars are going to be closed.
Right.
And so, but every other year, like a Thursday St. Patrick's Day, great. A Tuesday, maybe. The one I do want to talk about that's kind of weird though is Mardi Gras. Fucking sucks here. It is horrible.
Fucking terrible, dude.
So when I was working at the Balcony Club, we put real effort into having like a freak parade and having a big old party, and we were giving out the beads. We had prizes. We had drink specials. Like 50 people showed up.
Versus Cinco de Mayo.
Cinco de Mayo, every bar is at capacity, even if it's on a Monday night with everyone having to work at 8 a.m. the next morning.
Some trouble always happens on Cinco de Mayo.
Cinco de Mayo is crazy. But so, I got stories for you on Cinco de Mayo. But so we come in and like for Mardi Gras, we're like, you know, I'm working at a Balcony Club. It's an LGBTQ friendly club. You know, we're very open.
Right.
Anything goes. Like, let's just have fun. And me and my manager at that time put together a really fun party, and no one came. And then we went and took a tour around town, and Hannah's did good, but that was the only bar that did good. And it's good for Hannah's. Like, great.
Like Hannah's always does good on small holidays, no matter what the holiday or the occasion. It's
come on, if you throw sex toys at people, it's gonna work.
They do good, man.
You know, like, and especially for a party like Mardi Gras, getting an Adam Eve sponsorship for Mardi Gras it's clutch.
One of the things I can say about Hannah's is they have a very prominent turnout every time. So like no matter what the day is, what the event is.
No, they always crush. Busy. But so in this town, which
China Blue doesn't, which it's just kind of an interesting.
They own Mardi Gras, and it's interesting, but because you know you go down the south and everyone's doing it, but here it is such a hit and miss. And I think it's probably because somewhat early in the year, and then you compare like Mardi Gras, where we want something to happen, but we can't make it happen, to Cinco de Mayo. Obviously not this one because this one sucked, but a year ago, I was the resident DJ at Amsterdam Lounge. And David Munson hits me up and he says, "Hey, you're going to play tonight at Cinco de Mayo." I was like, obviously I'm going to be there. He says, "What time are you coming?" I was like, okay, like usually Amsterdam gets popping about 10:30. I was like, "It's Cinco de Mayo, I'll come in at 9.
Right.
And we'll light it up." And I was like, "Okay, you're going to go down to Reef where you also work and you're going to have a cocktail and then you'll go down to, Cinco de Mayo and play the party." So I just jumped out of the shower. I'm getting ready to go. And I get a call from David, and he's like, "Shit's popping off, dude." He's like, "It's fucking lit, and everyone wants to know where the goddamn DJ is." And this is like 5:15.
Right.
5:15. I'm like, "What do you mean people are wanting to know where the DJ is? How many people are there?" And he says, "I'll meet you down there. We're going to get you set up. We're going to go." So I come straight down there. It's 5 o'clock on, what was it? It was a weird day. It was like a Sunday or something.
Right.
No, it wasn't a Sunday, but it wasn't a weekend. And I come down to Amsterdam, and there's like 200 people there at 5 o'clock. At 5 o'clock, there's 200 people there for Cinco de Mayo. And as soon as I start playing, it just pops off. And I think that night I played a 9-hour set.
Damn.
Played a 9-hour set, and David said, like, "This is a long set." He says, "Thank you for coming in early." He says, "Have fun. There's Coronas and tequilas for you." I was like, "Great." This is great. And then I found out later at Reef, like we planned minimal staff because we're just like, it's a weekday. Who's going to show up?
Right.
Good God. I think my bartender sales were like 3,000, 3,500 solo.
Dude, Cinco de Mayo when I was
That shit's unreasonable.
that's why it sucked. This whole COVID shit.
They literally on that in 2019 Cinco de Mayo, no one had a break at Reef from 3 p.m. till 1 a.m.
Fuck.
It was at capacity for 9 hours.
That is so fucking straining.
It's ridiculous, and I'm glad it happened. Obviously, it's good for business, and everyone had a really good time.
It's like being somebody who works at an Irish pub like Haypenny on fucking St. Patty's Day.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, let's have more parties like that. Mm-hmm. It kind of fascinates me that that's the big one here, you know. And I mean, there's obviously
and then New Year's and Halloween. But actually, I think to me, I know you know numbers more than I actually know anything. But Halloween seems like the biggest day. The biggest day. Dude,
you know what we pray for as bar management for Halloween is like a Wednesday or a Thursday Halloween.
Because then you get Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
Oh, no. If you play it right, you can do a Halloween party the weekend before Halloween. And then you get an extra big turnout on Wednesday, Thursday when Halloween is. And then the Saturday after is another Halloween. So you can
many days of just costume parties.
You can turn if you get a Wednesday or a Thursday, you can turn Halloween into 3 or 4 days. And you know what? I know y'all around here in town. You all have 4 costumes. I'm not even mad about it. If you have 4 costumes, I'll give you 4 Halloween parties.
I'm so impressed with people who could show up to a Halloween like week like that with different costumes every time. Like I'm the kind of person like. I love Halloween more than any holiday ever, but I'm not the kind of person that is planning my fucking Halloween costume the day after Halloween ends. You know how some people are like that? Like the same day the fucking Halloween is over, they're thinking about their next year's costume. I'm just kind of like, what's relevant to right now and funny? And this year I did Drunken Thor from the Avengers, the washed out Thor who was fat and
okay,
drunk.
you were there with me as Scooby-Doo. And I'll be honest, I worked like 2 parties and went to 2 parties, and I wore the same onesie to all of them because, in my opinion, I can't beat Scooby-Doo. And what I'm really nervous about this year, so okay, let me not get this wrong. I'm not just nervous about Halloween. Obviously, I'm nervous about everything and health is being affected. I really want Halloween for this year for one reason. I want to see Carol Baskin and Joe Exotic.
Oh, everywhere.
I want to see that. I want to see the Trump costumes making him look like an asshole. I want to see the Carol Baskins, the Joe Exotics, the Joe Biden
dude,
creepy.
You just gave me the best idea. I'm going to be Trump.
See, but like looking after all the shit that's gone through here, I want to see a Dr. Fauci. You know, and if we have Halloween, you're gonna see the most ridiculous lineup of characters you ever seen.
Right.
And if we're gonna be honest, it's probably not gonna happen at this point, and that's okay. But that was gonna be the opportunity for the golden Halloween. You know?
was gonna be a good one, but to reiterate on like it's not gonna happen. I think it's gonna be affected, but there's gonna be that group of people who doesn't give a shit no matter what, and like what they're gonna end up doing is like it's gonna be a year from now, or like 6 months. How far is Halloween? 4 months? Fuck.
No, Halloween, dude. Halloween is up in like 3 months.
Fuck. I'm
And, like,
thinking
it's
over it's a
coming.
year. Dude, no, wow. I feel like it just happened. That means it's literally going to be really affected. And
So I think there's a real good chance, like, I don't speak for anyone, but just opinion. I think that there's really not gonna be that party push in the fall. The bars could be closed for a long time.
right, that's the scariest thing.
They were looking at voting today, the CDH was, on indefinitely closing down the bars, which, as I understand, means they're not closing them forever, but they're closing them in such a way that they don't open until there's another vote, right? So you do an indefinite closure, which means we close all the bars. The bars can't open until we all sit down again and say it's okay, and it gives us the leniency to run this for a long time. Because even though, right when they close the bars down, our COVID counts per day, if you look at it, it's I think coronavirus.gov or .idaho.gov.
Right.
It's our peak is like 800, but our average right now, since the bars have been closed, it's still crazy. Like our average is still probably like 500, 600 cases a day, which when you look to when we first started, it was like it was like
minimal.
80.
Yeah, we were very minimal.
And there's a
when we
lot of
first started.
there's a lot of factors that too, and I can say that, and like this is not the end all argument for it. It's just these are the stats that our representatives are making their decisions on.
And definitely it's a scary word too. It's a
No, dude, it's a terrifying
very
word.
scary word.
Well, and I think you think about indefinite, like all these bars still owe rent.
Yeah, they're all on back. Well, because everybody
you
owes
still have to
something.
pay for your spot, whether or not you're selling
Like,
anything.
The bars they owe rent, but everybody owes something too. Right now is the thing. Like it's not just the bars. Everybody, like the second that they pass this ability to collect again, and all these places that are like, oh, we're being lenient for your we can't collect on your rent, we can't collect on your power bill, we can't collect on all these things. The second they do collect, people are going to like either get kicked out of their homes or people are going to get sent to collections. Credit scores are going to drop. There's going to be an initial major hit when these collection companies do finally come back.
Shit's about to get really crazy. So that $600 bonus a week deal that they had on the unemployment stopped on the 25th.
Right, and that's a big thing.
And so, like I've seen this, like working in the restaurant, I've been trying to hire people, and no one wants to come to work because unemployment's been fucking cush, dude.
Right.
Like you just been chilling and making hella money, but now this ending, you're seeing what real unemployment is, and it's just like bare sustenance.
Right.
You go from $800 a week to $200.
Yeah, $800 a week is a ton. Like I didn't get a stimulus check or get any unemployment this whole time. I've just been working.
Yeah, I'm saying no, been working too, and so I think.
Did you get a stimulus check?
I haven't got it yet. I think it's just because I've moved too much. I need to just go and get it.
I don't know why I haven't gotten it, but
Also, I've heard that a lot of people haven't gotten it yet. When you're talking about 300 million people, it takes a second to mail them out.
yeah, I don't know if it's gonna come in the mail one day where I'm just gonna be like, whoa, fuck, $1,200, cool, or if I'm just like shit out of fucking
so
luck.
like we both just need to go. We just need to go to the IRS website and see where where we stand. But it's so fascinating, and what I'm worried about is I think there's a chance they close the bars until like 2021.
Fuck.
And if that's the case, like not only does it hurt you and my social life, that's like the least of the
That
worries.
also means maybe 90% of the bars aren't gonna make it out, and it's only gonna be a couple that.
Yeah, I mean, who do you know who can afford to pay rent for another 7 months after making no money this year?
nobody. Like Ted's fucked.
January and February is the month where bars don't make money in this town because
Well,
no one goes out.
I don't
and
think
then-
any bar owner really prepared to have to live off their savings. I thought they all were like, oh, well, I'm going to keep making money every weekend kind of thing.
Well, and the thing is, too, is they don't make as much as you would think. So January and February are traditionally not great months for the bars, so no one makes any money. and then you don't make any money, and then you get shut down for 3 months, right?
Right.
And then you open up and do okay for like 2 months, and then you get shut down again.
Right.
That money's running out real quick.
Yeah.
Like, even for the restaurants that are open at 50% capacity, restaurants are built on the idea that they're full.
Right.
They're built to make money when they're full.
But to be fair, they're also still making a like barbacoa. They're not at 50%.
Oh, they're not running. I can't speak to it. I haven't been in their dining room.
It is. There's not a single regulation other than masks being followed there. Like they're just like their bar tops open. Fucking every table I can see has people in it. They're not doing like every other table. They look like they're at full capacity.
Well, and that comes down to, so, you know, where I work, we definitely take all the full precautions, and we do our best job to follow CDH regulations.
Right.
Not only because we think that it's a good idea, but because, you know, when that's mandated of you, what happens if you don't follow? So
Exactly.
you take that combination of, we think it's a really good idea, and it's health, you know, it's following good health guidelines, safe for the entire community. And then if you're told to do something, you just fucking do it.
Yeah, exactly.
There's liquor licenses on the line, you know? There's restaurant
They'll
licenses.
pull them, yeah. They'll take them away and shit. That's what. I mean, at the same time as they'll take them away, how much can you really get away with until they do? You know. Like,
Well, that's what's been super fascinating right now is the level of enforcement from our government that, you know, says that we have to do these things, and then we have a mask mandate in public and all this. I haven't seen any enforcement. They're forcing private businesses to enforce it, and that's really fascinating to me.
there's no like unless they start hiring private agents, unless like there's like investigation crews or like a reward for ratting people out, like they were doing in California when it first hit. Did you hear about that? How they're like
No, so I've
people?
heard about that. That shit's never gonna fly in Idaho. It's just not. But it's interesting that we have these new rules and guidelines. And again, I'm not trying to argue the rules or guidelines.
Right.
Outside of my personal politics, I understand why they're done. It's just the expectation that the restaurants are going to be the only ones who apply them and enforce them is super interesting to me, you know? Like, you have to wear a mask in a restaurant, and technically you have to wear a mask at Barber Park when there's a bunch of people going to float the river, but only one of them has a
I think the
emphasis
stipulation
of enforcement.
The stipulation around that is like there's some loophole that allows you not to wear a mask in a park when you're in a public setting like that, where if you're safely social distancing, you don't have to have a mask. Or if
Oh,
you're
no,
on a river,
that loophole exists,
I just don't get. But
but 20,000 people float the river on a Saturday. You think they're really actually distancing?
Dude, the number of people floating the Boise River right now, insane.
And it's and I'm not advocating for anything necessarily. I just think we need to get more consistent, go on this. You can't go to, you and me can't go to Amsterdam and sit on the patio, right? Just you and me, who have close contact, it's fine. But you and me can go to Roaring Springs.
Exactly. Where the fuck is the sense in that?
And that's
Roaring Springs Water Park, right? Yeah.
And so they're talking about indefinitely closing the bars today, which they've been closed for over a month now, I think. And the case counts are still high, which tells me it's not necessarily a bar problem, it's a cultural problem.
Right.
If
people just stopped giving a shit no matter what.
Well, if we're being honest here, like, we may not go to a bar together, but I can still have 50 people in my house.
Nobody's gonna say anything about it either.
Yeah, no, I can still have you all over at my house and not require masks there. Shit, man, at a bar, at least you could require masks.
Yeah, exactly. And that's one thing I can definitely attest to is my amount of social distancing hasn't been in any way, shape, or form perfect.
Yeah.
Like 4th of July, we all went to a party, maybe 2, maybe 3 barbecues. We all were around at least 15 people at the time. So, that surge that we're seeing right now maybe was from the beginning of the month.
Well, I think a lot of that surge is just from what we're doing in our personal lives.
Yeah.
Going to the river, outdoor is definitely safer, right?
Going to the river, y'all share fucking food, cigarettes, fucking
But
joints,
no, it's safer because when you're in an enclosed space, like we're talking about water droplets that carry COVID, like it's more dangerous.
Right.
But any activity where there's a lot of people is inherently dangerous. And I think we're nitpicking a little bit. And if you look at the language that's being put forward, it's very vague.
Right.
which I think also hurts like the BPD and the CDH on enforcement. They read the laws and the ordinances that are being passed like, ooh, I don't actually know. It's neither here nor there. I can interpret it 10 ways. And that's a big issue, you know? And I think we should take this shit seriously because it's killing people, and there's a lot of cases that show up that it doesn't kill you, but it leaves you with long-term effects.
Right.
It can hurt your kidneys, your heart, your liver, your lungs, to where for years it affects you. Obviously, this is a very real thing, and I think we're scapegoating some industries and letting some others, and I think it's economically driven.
Right.
And, you know, like Roaring Springs, if you have them closed for a summer, they have, you know, I think right now probably $1 million, $2 million in outstanding debts on investment into slides. So where do we draw the line where that's okay?
Right. For them just to shut down or
they go under, they shut down, but the bars are going to go under as they shut down, which is really terrible. But we also want to try to save people, and so it's really tough. We just need to get more consistent on it. And I think that's where, you know, where like a mask order and, you know, the mask order and the social distancing order, if we just would try a little bit, could work. New Zealand's crushed it with this.
There is scientific evidence, words, Jesus Christ, evidence. There is scientific evidence behind the masks. You know, there is enough that says us wearing the mask, you know, but
I agree with you on that.
One thing that's kind of a trick
right now
that people still don't think about to this day, that when they wear those masks that have the extake valves, they are literally not wearing a mask. They are for themselves. They're not breathing in other people's vapors. But when you wear a mask that actually has a fucking vent on it that allows the air just to go out, it is not being filtered out. Your particles are actually going right out to people, you know? And yeah, in some way, when you still breathe and it goes out that valve, some of the actual water vapor is caught by the initial area.
Oh yeah,
essentially.
No, for sure. Yeah,
but the masks that actually do the best are the ones without that valve, because you're breathing both ways in and out. You're blocking your water vapor.
And this is like the biggest. This is the biggest issue, is just teaching people that wearing a mask doesn't protect you from shit. Mm-hmm. Like, it helps a tiny bit, you know. But what it is if I'm wearing a mask and I'm hanging out with 20 people and I sneeze, I can't sneeze.
Cough.
I can't sneeze on you. Like, if you and me are sitting at a party and we're talking to each other, you know, standing like a foot away like people do at parties, and I fucking cough, half those water droplets go in your mouth, whether you know it or not.
Right.
And if I'm a carrier, you're now sick.
Right.
Like, It's that simple. If I cough into my mask, maybe one hits you. Maybe.
And I don't have like the money or the technical advances or the connections to necessarily like test every single person that has came on my show. You know, like Joe Rogan does.
Yeah.
He tests everybody. They come on. He sends a guy to their house, pays for it, tests them, make sure they're good. La da da da. I don't got that.
No.
I don't.
Dude,
but at the same time, at least
that's what's super tough, though.
Yeah.
You know, the expectation. And I feel like tonight, right now, we are just about 6 feet apart. I think we're about 5 feet apart. And I think we've held that the whole night.
Exactly. You haven't shared a drink, you know, and I do make a effort at sanitizing my apartment between shows. Like, not just like I sanitize this entire workstation, I sanitize the mics, I sanitize everything, but I clean my house, you know, like I try to make sure bleach and like
it's like even that effort, because there's only so much time on surface contact, and if you combine that with some Lysol wipes, you're sitting pretty good.
I know, man. Just the simple amount of precaution, you know, and that can help whoever. Like, I don't want to make myself somebody who's advocate for spreading this. I don't want to make myself a contributor. I don't want to be an asshole. I want to make my way of contributing, and that's the whole reason why I started season 1 of this show, was because originally I was just doing a 10-day vlog of COVID-19 and trying to keep some kind of record, because at the time, like, when all we were sitting there doing was asking, what can we do? What can we contribute with? What can we offer people? You know, and what can we do for the community? And one of the things that we were told that we can do is
broadcast this situation, talk about this situation, genuinely fucking record this, you know, like, because, you know, the shit's not, maybe right now my one season that I recorded isn't going to be completely viable for anybody for a while. But in 10 years, when they're trying to figure out the COVID-19 situation, what happened, there's some guy who fucking literally recorded every single day of the lockdown in Boise, Idaho, from his garage. Like, damn, that's what it was like for him, you know? And
right?
That could be important information one day. And that's huge. That's very huge.
Well, and so that's why I mentioned the journaling I'm doing now, you know? So I try to journal every day. And part of that is if you have an opportunity to express yourself on paper, it makes you think about what you're feeling, what you're thinking. It also, it saves everything.
Right.
So in a year from today, I can look back on a year from, you know, a year back to the date and see what I said.
Right. And that's important.
You can re-experience what you felt and learn from it more than once.
Right. And that's why this fucking podcast is going to get expensive, because I don't plan on deleting footage. I don't plan on trashing footage. You know, I plan on filling hard drives and then just from there going and
well, that's why it's so important. You and me can sit down and have a beer in 10 years and listen to this tonight.
Exactly.
And maybe we'll say, God, they're a couple of dumbasses. Or maybe we'll say they were onto something, you know?
And that's why it's really important to me why I got all of this on Spotify and on Apple, because even if I stop paying for it, even if, you know, I'm not paying for the monthly subscription for the podcast and shit, it all still stays up.
Yeah, no.
So, it'll, no matter if this podcast goes to shit, it gets canceled, you know, I don't continue doing it. It's gonna, what I did do will always be here.
Well, and that's, so Gary Vee, who we talked about earlier tonight, he's a big proponent of, he's like, all these Instagram shows, all these podcasts, all this content you're releasing. He says that's a reflection of who you are that you have forever.
Right.
When you have grandkids and they're like, what were you like way back then? He's like, you have videos. You have actual videos of you talking that you can show your grandkids.
Right.
And say, this is who I was. You know, this is what I was doing at this point. Let me share this with you. And that's kind of a really cool idea.
And hopefully cloud-based storage stays something that we can rely on for the next 90 years. There's not a pandemic that causes things to go down. There's not.
No, that'll
shit.
stand, because you know how they do cloud-based storage, right?
How?
They put huge server rooms in the middle of the mountains because it's a heating issue.
Okay.
Like, you know, you talk about your computer having to stay cool.
Right.
So they just build warehouses of servers in the Swiss mountains, Russian mountains. Name a mountain that's cold.
No shit.
And that's what the cloud is. It's not in space. It's actually a server bank somewhere.
Which soon will probably be in space. Tesla, next project.
That's a possibility, but you know, it's just you have all this data stored in a warehouse in the middle of nowhere where they can open the doors to the right level to cool down the computers.
That's fucking trip.
It's a simple model, dude. It's cold here. We need to store, you know, thousands of
computers
of terabytes of data. Let's build a server bank here, and when the computers overheat, we'll open the door.
I mean, because like a huge issue that I had was like a plume of dust hanging out on the top of my fucking shit and just completely blocking all the airflow. And it contributed to the podcast in more negative ways than it should have, mainly because, for one, it was not only operating at a high temperature constantly, which is bad for your processor, but it was also fucking loud. You could hear my fan from my computer on the mics, like,
yeah.
And it was like, and I mean, the whole fucking time we'd be just running fucking a couple cameras and shit like this, you know, like, and you know, mind you guys, if you are looking at the cameras, I hope they look fucking good, because a lot of work and effort has gone into these cameras, gone into this whole situation. Mr. Andy here, you know, the lack of Mr. Camden Sutton today, the mind, the myth, the legend, my fucking camera guy who's always doing so much for me. He even pours us drinks. Yeah.
Okay, that's a part we're really missing out on.
Yeah,
right
he
now.
pours us shots, and fucking like me and Dusty killed a whole bottle of Jameson on the show. And
get after it, bud.
Oh my god, like, and that man can drink. Unfathomable unfathomable amounts of whiskey. And I don't think you can drink everything, but it's like, I think with Jameson, it's just one of those liquors that, like, when you do drink it, you can just send it back. You'll get fucking drunk, but you wake up in the morning.
You can maintain.
Oh, you can. Oh, dude, definitely. You can maintain. You're okay. You're not fucking hammered to the point of, like, beyond belief. But, you know, that changed for me when I got brain damage. When I fucking hit my head, dude. Like, I can, like, I used to be able to just drink and drink and drink and drink and drink. And then when I fucking hit my head really bad and got a TBI, my brain just kind of shuts down after a certain amount of liquor. It just.
Interesting.
Oh, yeah, dude. I get the wobbles. Like, I cannot stand up straight. Like, I'm just like.
Well, shit, to be honest, that actually might be a benefit right there.
No, yeah, that's just, it's like a encoder to my brain that says stop drinking, fool. You can't, you're done. You fall. And I fell floating the river yesterday. And fucking, I sprained my ankle. I could barely fucking walk on one of my ankles right now. And I have like a fat gash on my elbow. And it's hilarious too, because we had an amazing float trip. I don't know about you or anybody who listens to this podcast who's from Boise, but if they do, they understand that the Boise River is the best time that you can have fucking hammered with the possibility of dying.
Actually, god damn. when you put it that way, that is one thing that's always shocked me. So I've been on water my whole life, you know. Right. Like in high school, we used to go wakeboarding 3 times a week. I kayak, I whitewater raft, I paddleboard, and all these activities. You didn't necessarily always have a life jacket on,
right?
But one was like, you know, you could reach and just grab your life jacket. You go to the Boise River, and there's just gallons of Tito's, and not a single fucking life jacket in sight. And I see that, I'm like, I feel like
it's a hazard, man.
I was like, we could do this better. I'm not even saying you have to wear it. Just have one near you. You know, if you're gonna get drunk on a river with undertows, what is the issue with having a life jacket near you?
Dude, it's literally the most dangerous time you can have while fucking having a blast. Like, it's not like snowboarding where you get too drunk and you know you're too drunk. You're like, I should probably not go on another run. I'm gonna go to the lodge. Like, no, you're just all of a sudden fucking blacked out and you're still on the river, leaving your fucking life in the hands of somebody else who's blacked out drunk with one paddle, rowing in a fucking party raft with 7 other people on it that if you fucking take the wrong ass turn or the wrong ass section on a rapid, because there's 3 or 4 rapids on the Boise River that aren't bad, but
they're hardly rapids. But if you're drunk without a life jacket, they're actually all of a sudden they become more interesting.
They're situational. They're very situational.
Well, say because I've done like class 4 rapids in a kayak,
and they're nothing. But
wait, class 4, class 4,
and they're a lot. But
those are a lot. But I also had a life vest on, and I was 100% sober because they were
compared to the class 4, the Boise Rapids, they are nothing.
No, they're I'm not even sure I don't think they hit class 1.
Exactly. Like they're
but if
nothing.
you're drunk and not wearing a life jacket, it's just the dynamic is so fascinating.
Exactly. And it's all about how you hit them. Because the Boise Rapids on the Boise River, whatever you want to call them, the Boise bumps, the Boise fucking concrete slabs that they left in the middle of the fucking river when they were doing construction, whatever you want to call them. People, regardless, float the river constantly and go over these fucking humps, bumps, and rapids and don't know anything about what they're doing when they go over them and cause themselves bodily injury beyond belief.
Actually, it's funny. So one of my bosses the other day, he went for his first float trip and he was doing those concrete slabs where it has a 3-foot drop and he pinned a raft on a rock. And he's like, Andy, it sucks so bad. We were stuck, couldn't do anything. And like someone else jumped out of a different raft and pushed him out of it. But that's like, it was so simple, you know, it was just the stupidest thing. He's like, yeah, we go over and all of a sudden we're pinned on 2 rocks. There's just water flooding in and we don't know what to do. I was like, bro.
Dude, it was.
you need help. There's a way to do it. You gotta center up on those babies right there. You gotta center up. You can't be running the sides.
It was always a matter for my situation of alcohol.
Well, see, I think he was buzzed, but he wasn't drunk. It's just it just speaks to like the Boise River is super fun, but it's like the unknown scary killer of this town.
And it's also like the unknown factors that nobody puts into play. Like how many unexperienced floaters do you have with you? How many people are actually going to paddle? How many people are just going to sit there?
Yeah.
You know, like, and that's a lot of things you don't think about when you go, especially when you have like a 5-person party raft, you know, where.
Oh yeah. And again, you know, I totally support this idea of floating the river. And I think it's one of the best things you can do in town. It's amazing. It's just comical to me how much non-safety is applied to it. How many people who have never done any sort of aquatic or boating affairs in their life
or don't even know how to swim will go on around. No, they will.
No.
Will.
And if you're not know how to swim, go to Costco. It's $60. Get a hyperlight life jacket. That shit is comfy and it'll keep you afloat. I got one and I can speak to it.
Just don't hit your head. You'll be fine.
Oh no, you hit your head. It keeps you propped out of the water so you don't drown.
There you go. Fuck. Dude, Mr. Clements, we have officially reached close to the longest time of a podcast that we've got. Close to. I think the longest was 3 hours to 2 hours and 30 minutes. We are at 2 hours, 11 minutes. Is there anything we've missed, haven't covered, skipped, forgotten about, overlooked that you want to bring onto the show?
I mean, honestly, at this point, I got a closing statement. I can be ready to run.
Dude, let's do it.
Okay. I mean, hey, it's Andy Clements, Mr. DJ Brochacho, Mr. that guy with the beard, Mr. that douchebag you know you've seen, but you don't know why you know him. If there's one thing I can leave with, if there's one thing I can leave with tonight, like, it's 2020, it's a dumpster fire. Life is so hard right now. You know, I get it. Everyone is stressed all the time. What I can only give to everyone else is just keep loving, keep trying to understand, keep reaching out to those in front of, you know, around you who you care about. And eventually, you know what? We'll get through this together as a team. But until then, all we can do is radiate positivity, live with each other, and try to make the best out of our situations. DJ Brochacho, Andy out. Have a great night, everybody.
Woohoo! Fucking ladies and gentlemen, Andy Clements, the man, the myth, the legend, DJ Brochacho. This has been episode 22 of Young Blood Podcast, you guys. Remember, please do me a fucking favor and figure it out. It is all one word. Young Blood Podcast. All the platforms, Spotify, Apple, YouTube. Throw it in the search bar at YoungBloodPodcast. Young Blood Podcast, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you again. This has been a fucking another episode of the show. Good night.
Good night. Much love. Let's go.
Why hasn't it stopped recording? Stop recording.
All right. That was okay.
That was great.
It wasn't perfect, but it was all right start.